I can't believe I'm about to say what I'm about to say, but, I feel like I have to say this, so, here we go. This new generation of kids is really something else, Of course, I'm referring to, Generation Alpha, which is basically the, kids born in, 2014 or something. 2014 to basically now. I just feel like these kids just have no idea how to shut their mouths most of the time. I see a lot of things online about a bunch of teachers complaining about how these kids are just being complete pricks and, just being totally rude and disrespectful, just not knowing how or even when to just shut the up and just deal with being in the classroom and dealing with having to do work and having to follow directions. I'm under the impression that there's always been rude and disrespectful kids. It's not just Gen Alpha. Every generation, I feel, has had its group of disrespectful kids. But I feel like, at least in generations past, parents and teachers knew how to properly handle these disrespectful students so that they would not be a problem in the future. But I feel like that's not really happening with Gen Alpha, because a lot of these parents now don't really know how to properly interact with and teach their children right from wrong. The only thing they do is shove an iPad in their face and tell them, "Here, that'll get you to shut the up, won't it?" I think. Yeah. But I think the reason why millennials raise their children in this way is because they were raised by the baby boomer generation. And the way the boomers parented them was much more strict and assertive. There were some aspects of their parenting they didn't like, and so in their mind, they're thinking that they don't want to repeat these behaviors in their own kids. And so they try to over-soften and overcorrect their parenting style. And so these Gen Alpha kids who are being raised by these millennials have little to no boundaries, and they have little to no regulation. And so they view their parents as more of a friend or a buddy rather than an actual parental figure. Now, don't get me wrong. I do not believe that parents and teachers should just be smacking around their kids. That's not at all what I'm saying. But there has to be rules and regulations set in place, and there has to be consistency in enforcing these rules and regulations on these kids. And the parents have to actually be active in their child's life rather than just shoving an iPad in their face. Perhaps putting a time limit on the amount of time per day or per week that they're allowed to be on the iPad, so that when they use up that time, they can actually go outside and touch some grass. Or maybe you can actually be involved in their life. And it's not just these teachers that are complaining. It's also retail workers. I'm not really sure if you guys have heard of this trend, but basically there's this trend going around on the internet where a bunch of 10 to 13-year-old girls are going to Sephora and basically just destroying the makeup section and just making a mess everywhere and not even bothering to clean it up. You're 10 years old. What the are you trying to do wearing makeup, first off? Number two, where the your parents at, and why haven't they taught you yet that shit ain't cool? Number three, why are you so obsessed with these skincare products? What's so wrong with your skin at 10 years old that you need all these skincare products for? I mean, I guess I kind of have to respect that about them, though. They care about their skin, so props to them. I've also seen stuff where the teachers are complaining that these kids are performing 2, 3, even 4 grade levels below what they should be. And I think the reason behind this is because of the COVID pandemic. Kids had to spend a whole year or even 2 years not inside of a physical school. They had to rely on computer learning to get things done. And with digital school, most kids just looked up the answers on Google, put them down on a test, and then submitted it because there was no way for the teachers to know whether or not they were actually cheating unless they had like a lockdown browser. But do you see my point? They weren't actually learning and absorbing the material. They were just looking the stuff up on Google, putting it down on a test, and then submitting it. Of course, this didn't really affect the high school students all that much because we already graduated by the time the pandemic was over. But you can see this effect in a lot of middle schoolers and elementary schoolers now that are performing 2, 3, even 4 grade levels below what they should be. I guess this is also due to the fact that school administration sort of relaxed during the COVID pandemic as they weren't really able to be that uptight about stuff getting turned in because not everybody had Wi-Fi, not everybody had a computer, and so different arrangements had to be made. And so basically at the end of the year, they just let everybody pass on to the next grade. And finally, when they start to become strict and implement their regulations like they did before COVID, these kids are not willing to actually learn the material. But I think the biggest reason why I think this is happening is because as soon as these kids get home from school, all they want to do is scroll through their iPhones or their iPads. But that shit's been going on for at least 10 years now, where these kids get home from school and all they want to do is scroll through their iPhone or their iPad. But the main difference between what it was like 10 to 15 years ago and what it's like now is that most parents back then didn't want their children to be spending all day on these devices. They actually wanted them to go out and play and then get their homework done and actually learn. Whereas these parents now, they see these iPads as just another babysitter. I mean, I could go on all day about the brain rot they be watching, like the Elsa Gate videos, those weird-ass Spider-Man videos, like Coco Melon, all that shit. And I could go on talking about their slang that they use, but every generation has brain rot stuff. Every generation has their own unique slang. So there's really not much to say about that. But I'm just going to end this little video here. I hope you guys enjoyed that little rant. Not sure if this is actually a rant, but I hope you guys enjoyed that little video regardless. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel because that would really help out. Also, comment down below if you'd like, if you want to share your opinions about this video. Also, be sure to join my Discord server. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And until next time, this is Professor Brain, signing off. Peace. Oh, and also, if you want a part 2 to this video, let me know. All right, bye.